Geography experience.
We interrupt regular programming to bring you a severe weather alert.
Good evening, everybody. It's getting close to midnight as we begin to transition into a new day ahead of us. We're going to give you a quick update on the overall severe weather setup here. In the purple, tornado watches until midnight for Woodson, Allen, Wilson, Neosho, Montgomery, and Labette. Really for another 4 minutes, and then once we hit midnight, those counties that I just listed, you'll be done with the tornado watch and the severe threat for the rest of the night. For southwestern Missouri, Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties, and northeast Oklahoma, we've still got until about 3 a.m. at the latest for this tornado watch. We're still watching severe thunderstorm warnings for Bourbon, Crawford, and Cherokee counties, extreme western Barton County, and the western half of Vernon County. That's still in effect until about 12:15, 12:30. And then as you venture south, we have additional severe thunderstorm warnings to watch and a tornado warning, not in our viewing area, but that's the storm that I want to focus on in a bit. But first, let's switch to the radar. It is an impressive line of thunderstorms still progressing from west to east. And if it's any good news, this is moving a lot faster than I previously thought. So that's good because we can get this out of here sooner. And the sooner we can get this threat out of here. But first off, I want to set this iPad aside and let's go ahead and break this line down. First, before we touch base about the northern part of the line, I want to do a quick check on the storms in northeastern Oklahoma, especially since we had a new severe thunderstorm warning go out for pretty much most of Ottawa County and extreme northwestern Delaware County. That's a new warning for this line that's been capable of producing wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour. And hail sizes have not been impressive with this. The highest I could find was about penny size hail, or 3/4 of an inch. Of an interesting concern, what I'm watching is this tornado warning polygon out in Rogers and Mayes County. That's just outside of our viewing area, mainly covered by the Tulsa television market. This has some strong low-level rotation, and they're still continuing with that. Nothing has been reported on the ground with it at this time, but we need to keep a close eye on this because if it holds together as it moves north and east, we could be seeing this getting close to Veneta within the next 30 minutes or so. But for the time being, we are not seeing any tornado warnings in our immediate area, which is definitely good news, especially as we venture into the overnight. And in fact, it is that rotation down there, still radar indicated. Doesn't look as strong as it did before, so hopefully this rotation will weaken as this part of the line continues to move east and northeast. So I'm keeping a close eye on that, but at the very least we don't have any active tornado warnings in our area at this time. As for the latest warning out for Ottawa County, we have well, it says tornado possible, so it could mean that we could see a quick spin up along this line. In general, though, nothing really screams like rotation, but the main threat still continues to be 70-mile-per-hour winds, and now hail has been bumped up a bit. We have quarter-size hail that we'll have to contend with. Let me quickly get, let's see here. Let's pull up the warning and let's get an idea of how fast this is going to go. Okay, this is racing now. It is moving northeast at 70 miles per hour. A little skeptical if it's moving that fast, but I would say at the very least, if it's moving at 55 miles per hour, that definitely seems more likely. So as we get a storm track on this part of the line, let's go ahead and split the difference. We'll do the leading edge, and we'll go northeast at about 60. Let's say that's a good midway number there. As that continues to move north and east, it's going to be in Miami. In the next 4 minutes, at least, the heavier rains and the actual thunderstorm, you're obviously getting close to the winds part of this system, which is, again, capable of up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. As we venture close to the corners where Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas come together, this will be close to downstream Casino at about 12:15. And then we're looking, if this holds together, it moves into downtown Joplin, MCHS. That's McCallie Catholic High School in downtown, also close to Joplin High School, the 9th and 10th grade campus. That's about 12:20. So that's close to downtown Joplin at about 12:20 at the rate this is going. And as we go into Newton County, Seneca at 12:37, 12:45 is Sarcoxy, and eventually, as this holds together and moves east, this could be close to Neosho as we get to 12:52. Let's actually clear this track off, and before we take a look up north, I'm going to go ahead and pull up a few cameras for you. Let's take a look at 7th and Range Line. This is looking west toward the line of storms that's out in Cherokee County. This is 7th and Range Line, our camera looking west toward the state line, toward the city of Galena. Nothing too ominous here. Of course, it's kind of hard to see it at night, but there's nothing that really screams any threatening weather. We're just seeing the occasional lightning strike as that line of storms continues to move from west to east. That's all I'm seeing from that. And we can just quickly check and see another one of our tower cams. This is near downstream Casino. Looking pretty quiet there as well. And then I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some lightning begin to light up the skies around the casino as well. So that is the deal with the southern extent of this storm. Let's go ahead, quickly pan north for you and get a quick update on the northern end of this line as this continues to push along and close to the US 69 corridor before you move into western Missouri. The edge of this line is about if it's not close, it's pretty much on top of Weir, Scammon, as you work down to Columbus and down towards Baxter Springs. At least the rain part of this, some of you out ahead of it, particularly near Crestline, maybe getting close to Riverton near the roundabout in Galena, you may be starting to pick up on the winds out ahead of the storm. And that's pretty much the main deal with this. Again, in this part of the line, we may see maybe the potential for a quick, brief spin of tornado. Nothing screaming like rotation again, but we can't rule it out as this line moves west to east. But anytime you see a squall line set up like this, folks, we just have to deal with wind, small hail, and definitely plenty of rain once you get past the wind part on the leading edge of this. And this warning continues until 12:30. It includes all of Crawford County now. It's not just Girard or Beulah anymore. It includes the entire county, including Pittsburgh. And we have this clipping the extreme western parts of Barton, areas west of the Veda along US 54. It's still an issue for most of Bourbon County from Uniontown over to Fort Scott and along US 69. So that's pretty much the latest that we have right now. Again, we're going to keep the break-ins to a minimum as we can, but again, if we need to, I'll break back in as necessary, and we'll keep you updated during programming with the Skywatch Storm Alert scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and of course online too. Until then, folks, we're going back to programming right now.
Many different.
We interrupt regular programming to bring you a severe weather alert.
Good morning again, folks. Nick here, back in the Weather Center with an update for you on the severe weather pushing through. If you're concerned about this line of storms, that's from Cherokee County, working through Crawford County, getting close to Jasper County, then working north along Interstate 49. Just be prepared for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds and the occasional hail sizes up to about the size of pennies. I'm going to really focus for the next several minutes on this tornado-warned storm that is causing at least some issues as we look at northeastern Oklahoma. In fact, we're good there. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this. This has been a tornado warning, which has shown some good low-level rotation, and there it's tightening up a little bit more, where the Weather Service out in Tulsa is suggesting that this is trying to put a tornado on the ground, and it was hinting at a little bit of debris being picked up by radar. Ever since we got the dual polar upgrades about a year ago, we've been able to detect with the dual polar radars all across the country, and not just here in the 4 states, whether or not a storm may be producing damage if any debris is being lofted. The Weather Service is trying to suggest that there is a little bit of low-level rotation around Cleora and maybe a little bit of a potential debris being picked up by radar. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to pull up the correlation coefficient. This will be the product that will give us an idea of if we're seeing any debris in this. Doesn't look too impressive right now, but with the way that the rotation is tightening up, I would not be surprised if the radar tries to detect a little bit of debris being picked up, because we've had power flashes with this right around Ketchum, and we don't know for sure if that was from a spin up that was trying to form or if it was from the straight line winds as the entire line moves from west to east. So with that said, we're going to do a double check on the velocities with this. And it is starting to tighten up a little bit. If I had to be specific, it's right around Bernice. It's just northwest of Grove. And in fact, we're going to take the radar scope off. It's right in here, right where we're picking up that intensifying rotation. So we're going to zoom in a little more to at least get a little bit more imprecise of where this exactly is in terms of some more locales. It's kind of splitting the difference around Cleora, Bernice, Afton. Again, if you're watching us in Grove, this is not affecting Grove. This is going to stay north and west of you, but you are definitely getting in on the intense line in the straight wind part of the thunderstorm in addition to the heavy rain. If we had the tornado warning continue north and east, and it looks like it just did, so give me a second here, folks. Let me get a chance to zoom back out, because it looks as though that tornado warning has been extended a bit northeast. In fact, let me just go back and take a look. Yeah, now we have the entire tornado warning covering the eastern half of Ottawa County. So let's get a look at what this storm is doing. We have the tornado warning now for extreme northwestern Delaware and a good portion of Ottawa County. And you can see additional severe thunderstorm warnings out for southeastern Cherokee County, the southern half of Jasper County, all of Newton County, all of McDonald County, in anticipation of the main line beginning to work in from the northeast. But let's go ahead, let's zoom back in so that we can see who is under that extended tornado warning polygon. So we're going to go ahead and zoom back in on this. And again, we apologize again if we're interrupting programming that you want to watch, but this is an obligation to you all to keep you updated on this development here. This tornado warning, now 1245 still, although I would imagine that's for the old tornado warning polygon. Nope, it still says 1245 too. So we're going to keep a close eye on this. And you can see this covers pretty much all of Interstate 44 in Ottawa County. And this includes Miami. This does include Commerce. This does include areas of where Pitcher and Cardin used to be. And this is getting also pretty close to downstream Casino too. We don't have any tornado warnings yet for extreme southeastern Cherokee County, where the parking lot of downstream Casino is. But again, with the tightening low-level rotation, we got to keep a close eye on this storm as it continues to move north and east. So let me switch to the radar view of this. And at a glance, with reflectivity, in fact, let me look at just the Tulsa radar on this. Okay, if this is pretty much from the Kansas-Oklahoma County or state line, pardon me, and working straight south. Anywhere out ahead of that, you're going to get winds out of this no matter what, whether you're dealing with a brief spin up or a tornado or not. But this area right in here, that's south of Miami, just north and east of Cleora, around Bernice and around Ketchum, this is the area where, again, we're picking up low-level rotation, and this is where we want everybody in this red polygon to be in a safe place. Let's go ahead and zoom back in again to get some locales here, to give other folks a chance to get a heads up. So we want still Afton, be in your safe place. Copeland, be in your safe place. If you live all along your US 40 and getting close to Wyandotte, be in your safe place. Fairland, be in your safe place. This also goes for Miami if we can just pan to the north. In fact, we will do that right here. So let's pan north. This does include areas around NEO A&M in Miami. This includes Commerce. This, again, includes Pitcher and Cardin as you work to the north of there. And this includes everybody around Peoria. And as you continue north and east, pretty close to downstream Casino. And the warning just stops short of Treese, right along the state line to downstream Casino. That's the northern extent of this tornado warning. So again, if you are in any of the places that I've listed and you are in that tornado warning polygon, we want you to be in your safe place right now. So what is your safe place? You want to be below ground if you can. If you have a storm shelter, either above ground or below ground, a basement or a storm cellar, that's the best place to be. If you don't have access to that, if you don't have a basement, you don't need to panic. Just get as low as you can. First floor is fine. And you want to get into the center of your home, business, or apartment complex as you can. And in most cases, a suitable place is going to be an interior bathroom, an interior hallway, or an interior closet. Be sure you'll be able to cover yourself with blankets and pillows just to protect you from any debris should we have a tornado on the ground. And if you are in mobile homes and you have just enough time to get out and find immediate shelter close by, you need to do that right now. And definitely, if you know anybody traveling along I-44 or on any of the roads in most of Ottawa County, tell them being in a car is not a good place to be during a tornado warning. So give them a heads up and tell them to find more substantial shelter. Okay, looking at the latest of the warnings now, we have the eastern half of Vernon County, northeastern parts of Barton County, extreme western Cedar, and western St. Clair. That's still a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's be sure we don't leave you folks out of the coverage here. This continues until 1 a.m., so about another 17 minutes to go. Again, this has been a low-end severe line. With this line, that's north of Lamar, working north all the way along and east of I-49. This has just been 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail. So in general, as this moves closer to Stockton Lake, areas around Stockton Lake and the Harry Truman Reservoir, just be prepared for that as we go through the next 45 minutes to an hour. And now the latest with this severe thunderstorm warning that covers a good portion of southwestern Missouri, mainly from about Carthage and points south as you work closer to McDonald County and the Missouri-Arkansas state line. So we're going to get some details on this for you. The Weather Service is saying that a spin-up tornado could be possible along that line as we see this move from west to east. In general, though, this is looking like 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and small hail. In fact, we can show you what Joplin looks like right now. We'll get a quick look at our 7th and Rangeline Tower Cam. Again, this is pointed straight to the west, ahead of that line as it begins to work into the city of Joplin. We're just seeing a lot of lightning right now. Occasionally, we'll see the winds really start to pick on up, but it won't be long until we see a soaked tower cam once we get that bout of heavy rain and maybe some small hail working into the city. Now, in terms of that storm, looking back southwest into Oklahoma, we can see how downstream Casino looks, and of course, hopefully everybody there is keeping a close eye on the storm that's off to your south and west. Seeing not too much, which is unfortunate when you have a tornado warning during the night, because unless you have a lot of good lightning, it's going to be hard to spot anything unless you see something on the ground and that's actually happening. So we are going to go back into this. Let's zoom in back into this tornado warning for, it's pretty much now an issue for Ottawa County. I would still argue around maybe Cleora, maybe areas, a few areas northwest of Grove, to be in your safe place. In general, though, this is looking more and more like a tornado warning that's for Ottawa County. So for those of you watching extreme northwestern Delaware County under the tornado warning, you can give it about 5 to 10 minutes and then you'll be all clear from this part of the thunderstorm that's prompting the low-level rotation. But still, though, in Ottawa County, pretty much around Miami, all on the Will Rogers Turnpike as you work northeast near downstream Casino, just south of Treese. That includes Pitcher, Carden, Commerce, right around NEO A&M as you work back into the city of Miami, Wyandotte, and just about south to the Delaware-Ottawa County line. We want everybody there to be in a safe place. Now, in terms of this probably moving to the northeast in terms of times of arrival, we can get another good look at that. Let me just do a quick double check on the wind speeds on this and see if we have any other updates from this. Okay, as of what time are we at now? It is 12:46. We're looking at now a strong circulation just outside of Wyandotte, and this could lead to a potential tornado that could develop. So again, this is a good call to action that everybody around Wyandotte needs to be in a safe place right now, especially as you work along, I believe that's a US 60 that runs west to east across the southern half of Delaware County. In terms of the city of Miami, it looks as though you may deal with just the hail out of this. In fact, they've trimmed that tornado warning back. So if you are watching us in Commerce, you're pretty much all clear from the tornado warning right now, but I would still be careful if you have to do any quick runs outside, if you have to. Hopefully you don't, because you're just getting socked with a lot of heavy rain and maybe small hail with this. But allow me to go back and we will take a look at the newest change to the tornado warning polygon. And again, I apologize again if you are expecting a programming right now, but this has been an interesting storm since it fired up near Tulsa. And since it has the chance to drop a tornado at any time, we're going to stay with this a little differently than what we usually do during the night, because it's hard to see anything clearly when it's at night unless you have a lot of lightning. Looks like the newest tornado warning has trimmed back parts of the area that are affected. In fact, we can zoom in again and see who needs to be in their safe place. Along US 60 from Mooreville, east and southeast of Narcissa, east of Miami, although I would still say if you're in the city limits of Miami, especially around A&M and especially near the Miami exit on I-44, we still want you to be in a safe place. This still includes Quapaw. This doesn't seem to include Pitcher or Cardin. In fact, I can double check that for you as we pan this a little bit to the north. I would still say if you're anywhere near where Pitcher and Cardin used to be in your safe place. Same goes for Downstream Casino. But from that area down south around Quapaw, Wyandotte, Mooreville, along US 60, along Oklahoma 10, we want you to be in a safe place as of this time. And that rotation is trying to tighten up a little bit. If it was anywhere based on how reflectivity looks, it would be right in here, just north of Mooreville, north of US 60, moving northeast at about 55 miles per hour. So let me go ahead, let me zoom out just a bit, and we'll get a storm track on this and see where it wants to go and how fast it will want to go. So let's do a storm track on this. Let's take this northeast at about 55 miles per hour. And we'll just do the whole leading edge of this because we've had that rotation cycle every now and again. It had a rotation die out and then we'd have a new one fire up around with it. So, times of arrivals for this part of the thunderstorm, be it the winds or that potential for a tornado to drop, it's going to be pretty close to Downstream Casino, if not on top of Downstream Casino within the next minute and a half, 12:51. Crowder College, if we continue to see tornado warnings go out for parts of Newton County, it'll be near Crowder College to the south side of Neosho at 107, downtown Neosho at 109, Berwick near 125. And later on down the line, if this rotation holds together, and it's a big if, going that far down the line, we could have this come close to Pierce City and Mount Vernon once we get past about the 1:30 to 1:45 time frame. So let me take another look at the overall warning situation just to be sure we're not forgetting anybody, and maybe we can take a quick break from the coverage if we're not seeing anything too new here. We had a tornadic debris signature east of Fairland, and the radio says that the tornado may have set down at near 590 Road. So we're going to stick with this for a little bit longer, especially since we've had at least hints of debris being picked up by the radar, and we've had at least some reports trying to say that a tornado has been down in the southern parts of Ottawa County. So let's switch back to the radar. Again, if you're in southeastern Kansas, southwestern Missouri, north of Interstate 44. In general, this is just a lot of heavy rain, small hail, and if anything was severe, or if anything was prompting these severe thunderstorm warnings, mainly on the Missouri side, it is for 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. We're not seeing any low-level rotation in this. We're continuing to watch that. Let's quickly go back in to the southern half of the viewing area. Let's just do a wider look at this in northeast Oklahoma and southwestern Missouri. Right now, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Cherokee County, mainly Crestline, Galena, Riverton, Baxter Springs. As you work east, southern half of Jasper County includes Carthage, downtown Joplin, Webb City, and as you work on south, close to Sarcoxie and Diamond. It includes all of Neosho, or all of Neosho, in addition to all of Newton County and all of McDonald County. That severe thunderstorm warning is just in general for the winds out ahead of this line of thunderstorms. It's too early to tell for certain if we're going to see this warning get extended out, this tornado warning work into southwestern Missouri. We're going to keep a close eye on that, but in general, we're giving you all a heads up just for the 60 to 70 mile per hour winds that are possible as the whole line moves west to east. Let's take another close look at the Ottawa County storm. Again, if you're just joining us, I'm just staying with this a little bit longer because since it's nighttime, it's going to be hard to know for sure if we still have a confirmed tornado on the ground. But with the latest reports I'm seeing, we've had some debris being picked up by radar with the rotation that may have dropped a tornado. That damage could have been from straight line winds or a tornado. We'll just have to wait and see what it is or what could have caused that damage as we continue on. And we now have a tornado warning out for parts of Cherokee County, and now we know Jasper and Newton counties now under a tornado warning until 1:15. So we're definitely going to be staying with this. And again, my apologies if you were expecting regular programming, but of course this is an interesting storm, and we are going to stay with this. Let's see. This latest report, or the latest warning, had the storm 10 miles west of Seneca. So there's Seneca going west from the state line. All right, that rotation is just about there, about, let's say, Oklahoma 137 working south, and east of the turnpike, it's fairly close to Wyandotte, which is where that rotation is. And it's continuing to move to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. So we, of course, granted with this tornado warning being extended back and north and east, that polygon tornado warning does include the city of Joplin, so we are definitely going to stay with everybody here with this. Let's zoom in. Let's see who exactly is under the tornado warning polygon, so we can give you some ideas of who will be impacted by this storm that has been capable of producing at least significant low-level rotation and maybe some damage from a tornado. We're going to keep a close eye on this as the storm evolves, but you can easily see that red tornado warning polygon that is out until 1:15. This is for not only just northeastern Ottawa County and Oklahoma, this is for extreme southeastern Cherokee County. For those of us at the station, we are fine. Our shop is a few miles north of Crestline. We don't need to be concerned about it. But as you go south of Crestline, near the roundabout in Riverton, Galena, you are in that polygon. Same goes for Baxter Springs. So for you folks there, be sure you go to your safe place. And then as you work into southwestern Jasper County, this doesn't officially include Webb City, but the polygon is close enough to Webb City. So if you're close to Webb City, you'll want to be in a safe place. Definitely that goes for Joplin, Carl Junction, and then maybe getting close to where 171 and 96 come together. I wouldn't say Oronogo yet, but it's just southwest of there. That's the northern extent of that warning. You venture down south, this goes over 32nd Street south. It includes the northwestern sides of Neosho, and that does also include Seneca. In fact, we can get a few more local cities to pop up here to give you an idea of some more of the local locales that need to be in a safe place. Definitely now we want everybody at Downstream Casino to be in a safe place, since the entire casino, not just the casino, but the parking lot and the entrance from I-44 as well, to be in a safe place. Again, Galena, be in your safe place. We need, would like to have folks around Baxter Springs and Riverton as well to be in your safe place. Continuing south, we want folks around Saginaw, Diamond, to be in your safe place. In fact, there's Diamond over there. That's the eastern extent of the Polygon tornado warning. And this continues south until you get to the northwestern sides of Neosho. Downtown Neosho proper is not in the tornado warning, but if you consider yourselves in the city limits of Neosho and you're northwest of downtown, I would go ahead and be in a safe place. The same goes for Seneca, and the same goes for areas along Racine and up and down Missouri Highway 86 as you venture up towards I-44 and then back down eventually before you hit the McDonald County line. Let's take the latest look at the radar. We are looking at a composite of everything here. In fact, let me go ahead, zoom this out a little bit. Let's take a little bit of a wider look. From the reflectivity, in fact, if we look at just the radar site at the lowest level out of Springfield, the live radar as it continues to sweep around, it looks as though the rotation is definitely working north and west of Seneca. It's going to continue north and east at about 55 miles per hour. And this is definitely looking very interesting as we go into Joplin. Let me take a look at the reports again. We only have penny-sized hail in Southwest City, and the emergency management in Joplin is sounding the sirens, so it's no surprise. If you can hear the sirens, it is for this tornado warning that has at least some rotation, if not tried to put a tornado on the ground, and is working northeast. So far, have not seen much in the way of anything on the ground at this point. In fact, looks as though we are not seeing much, but in Fairwind here, this is the latest report, at 590 and 220 Road, we've had power lines down and some homes damaged per radio of Ottawa County radio traffic. So whether the storm has a tornado on the ground right now or not, this has been causing some damage. So the bottom line, even if you aren't in this if you are in this tornado warning polygon, if you don't get hit by what could be a developing tornado with those winds pretty much near 60 to 70 miles per hour in general, that could also cause some damage. We want you to be in your safe place. And where do we want you to go if we're talking about your safe place? If you have access to anything below ground, like a basement, storm cellar, or a storm shelter, go ahead and get there. That's your best option. If you don't have access to that, you don't need to panic. We can get you to as low as you can and as center as you can. And when we mean as low as you can, as close to ground level. The first floor is fine. And as center as you can get, and in most cases, your best bet is going to be an interior closet, hallway, or a bathroom, and just be able to bring along blankets. How about blankets and pillows so that you could shield yourself from any potential debris should we still have a tornado on the ground? Thankfully, I haven't seen anything that looks like anything is still on the ground at this time. In fact, the latest still has just radar indicated rotation, so that's good. Still, we want you to be in your safe place if you're in that tornado warning polygon. If you're in a mobile home and you got time to get out, go ahead and do that. Find the immediate sturdiest shelter nearby. And if you know anybody out on the roads in Joplin or around that tornado warning polygon, cars are not a good place to be, especially with winds near 60 to 70 miles per hour, in addition to the threat of a tornado. So if you know anybody in the car or mobile home, please tell them to find a lot better shelter. So let's go back to the overall view. And again, if it seems like I'm repeating myself, I apologize, but we have people often coming and going between severe weather coverage. And with the tornado warning now affecting a good populated area north and east of Miami around Downstream Casino near Joplin, we're going to be staying with this until we get this tornado warning at least to expire or to be canceled, and then we will be allowed to go back to programming. But with the tornado warning at night, I want to treat this a little bit more cautiously because we may have a tornado on the ground and we may not. It's going to be hard to tell if we have one on the ground just because it's nighttime, and unless you have good lightning, chances are you're not going to have a good shot of seeing this as this moves north and east. In fact, let's go back to the radar. Let's do another quick overview. Again, for most of southwestern Missouri, as you go north of Carthage, north and east of I-49, near Stockton Lake and the Harry Truman Reservoir, you're just looking at 60 to 65, maybe 70 mile per hour wind gusts. That's as bad as these storms are getting as they continue to move towards the east. If you're watching us in southeastern Kansas from Anderson, Allen, Neosho, Lebec counties and points west, you're just dealing with rain. You're done with severe weather for the rest of the night, as that tornado watch has just been expired. So you don't have to worry about severe weather for the rest of the night. Some rain and rumbles of thunder, maybe, but that part's in the clear. For Bourbon, Crawford, and Cherokee counties, we're still going to keep a close eye on things, although the worst of it has passed to the east of you. And now we're going to mainly be able to focus, again, on the storm that is moving into southwestern Missouri and getting close to Joplin. If we had that rotation still trying to produce a tornado on the ground, it looks as though it will now be in western parts of Newton County, pretty close to Racine and north and west of Neosho. Again, downtown Neosho proper, you're not in that tornado warning polygon, but if you consider yourself in the city limits on the northwest side, just be in your safe place. The warning does include Joplin, but as long as it continues north and east, if we don't get this to restructure itself, looks as though Joplin, you'll just see 60 to 65 mile per hour winds and a lot of heavy rain and maybe some small hail. In fact, I'll show you what 7th and Rangeline looks like in a second, but I want to be able to zoom out and I want to give you a quick storm track just so we have everybody up to date on how fast this is going and on when it'll get to places north and east as the storm moves along. So let's zoom out a bit, and that might be good enough. Let's go to the squall tool. We're going to storm track on this with this storm. I believe the speed of this hasn't changed as it moves north and east, but we can always get a quick double check. Let's have a look. We have this moving northeast. There's that tornado one, 55 miles per hour. And just as we noted, we have strong circulation approaching Racine. Again, Racine, be in your safe place. If you're north and east of Racine, north of Neosho, and south and east of Joplin, around, let's say, Fidelity and I-49 as you go south of Interstate 44, be in your safe place. We're still picking up strong rotation with this. And this is moving northeast at 55. So let's get a storm track on the leading edge of this. In fact, the leading edge is already in Joplin, so you may have already experienced the worst of the winds. You're just dealing with a lot of heavy rain and hail right now. A small hail, if there was any. But as we continue to move this northeast at 55, it's going to be clipping the northwestern sides of the Neosho, but the Neosho marker is on this track. In the downtown limits of Neosho, the rotation is going to pass to your northwest by about 3, 4, 5 miles, but you're just going to be dealing with 60 to 65, maybe 70 mile per hour winds. This will be clipping southeastern parts of Joplin, but again, it's Joplin. You're just going to be dealing with strong winds and the heavy rain that's falling right now, and maybe some small hail. Looks like if you're in Dunaweg, Duquesne, or Joplin, the rotation is going to stay south and east of you. So go ahead and still respect the tornado warning polygon. Be in your safe place. But this will be near Carthage by 116. If this holds together and decides to clip northwestern Berry and southwestern Lawrence counties, this could be near Pierce City by 131, Red Oak at 139, and as it tries to cross or hug Interstate 44 in Lawrence County, and maybe near Mount Vernon by 144, then eventually Ash Grove once we get a few minutes after 2 a.m. So let's clear that off. Let's see how we look from 7th and Rangeline. See, we're just getting soaked with plenty of heavy rain right now. We've already had the strong winds push through. As you're west of Rangeline in Joplin, you're just going to be dealing with plenty of rain for the next hour or so, mainly small hail. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and quickly see if I can pan that camera to the south, and I doubt we're going to get anything out of that, but better to be safe just to check and see that we're not getting anything. All right, let's get the tower cam up. Let's rotate that south. We are looking south along range line. Then that view is starting to get a little obscured by the tower. Can't really see much, but at the very least, things look quiet in Joplin. We're just dealing with rain in that part of the city and pretty much the city overall. So as we go back to the radar, see, they've really trimmed back this warning quite a bit. This is now an issue for extreme southwestern Jasper County and then working back into western Newton County. In fact, I'm a little suspicious about that area right there, just to the north of Racine. I would not be surprised since we've had at least some reports of potential damage as the storm moved through. So we're going to do a little bit of investigating here. Let's zoom back in. Let's take a closer look. Okay. Diamond, we still want you to be in your safe place. The same goes for Joplin. And areas south of 32nd Street, definitely around Racine and northwest of Neosho. That hasn't changed. Ottawa County, all of Ottawa County, you are in the clear. Ottawa County is no longer under a tornado warning, so that's good. You're given the all clear from this storm. You're just going to be dealing with heavy rain, maybe some small hail, and quite a bit of lightning as we go through the next few hours. But as far as that tornado warning goes, Ottawa County, you don't need to worry right now. That has moved out to the east. Let's take a quick look at some stuff here. Let's see. Tulsa canceled the tornado warning out in Ottawa County. In terms of any potential damage, let's see. If 210 and 590 Road, residents call and say they are trapped in a house. Okay, they have crews headed that way, so that definitely looks as though there could have been some damage there. Whether, again, that's from straight line winds or a tornado, too soon to tell since the storm has obviously just passed through. But I'm not seeing much in the way of anything immediate on the ground right now, which is certainly good. The Springfield office is still going with radar indicated rotation, and I think that's a good call. I'm just not seeing anything really screaming out that there's a tornado currently on the ground. Could there be one on the ground? Maybe. But with this being nighttime, you just don't want to take any chances. If you're under that tornado warning polygon, just be in your safe place. Let's look at the velocities on this. Let's see how this storm looks. We'll pop up the scope tool, and that's acting a little bit fussy, so we'll just clear that off. But I would argue that this rotation is passing now north and northeast of Racine. If you're watching us in Joplin, it looks like it's going to stay south and east of the city. The same goes if you're watching in Dunaweg and Duquesne. So if you're pretty much north of Interstate 44 as you go into Jasper County, and especially north of 32nd Street in Jasper County as you go north, it doesn't look like you're going to be dealing with the tornadic rotation. You're just going to be, again, dealing with that heavy rain. So with that said, it looks as though we can get a bit of a quick breather in just a little bit. Let's just go ahead. Let's reset everything so that we're sure we're not missing out on anybody. The warnings that were out, the severe thunderstorm warnings that were out for Bates, Vernon, and for Barton counties, that has been allowed to expire. The worst of that has now moved east. It's going to be passing north of Stockton Lake over to Harry Truman Reservoir, mainly an issue for northern St. Clair and, or in fact, all of St. Clair County and extreme northwestern parts of Cedar County. In addition to that small tornado warning that we're watching closely in southwestern Jasper, northwestern Newton counties, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning for most of Jasper County, mainly from Carthage on south, all of Newton County, all of McDonald County, and including the western half of Benton County. If you're under the severe thunderstorm warning part of that line, you're just dealing with 60 to 70 mile per hour winds and still looking at sizable hail, only about the size of pennies. That's shorter or smaller than an inch in diameter. Let's take another quick look at this. It looks as though we might have gotten a new sweep in. Before we just take a quick break on this, and we can get you back to programming in just a little bit so we can regather and get some fresh information. It looks as though, if we zoom in a little more, looks like they might have triggered a new tornado warning. It looks like they might have. Okay, so the Weather Service has gone ahead and put out a new tornado warning. In fact, let's back up. There's that new tornado warning polygon. This is going to be for southeastern Jasper County and now the northern half of Newton County. This is the newest tornado warning out until 1:45, as the storm still continues to show at least radar indicated rotation. And at this point in time, we're not seeing much in the way of a tornado on the ground at this time. But I will say, east-southeast of Seneca on Quincy Road in Newton County, they have had wind damage break 3 power poles, and power is out in some parts of the area around Seneca. So this storm, regardless if it was a tornado that was maybe on the ground or the 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, has been causing a little mischief and some damage. So if you're in that red polygon, or if you even in that severe thunderstorm warning polygon, you'll definitely want to be in a substantial shelter, or at least in a safe place if you're in that tornado warning polygon. The latest speed on that tornado warning had the storm moving northeast at about 50 miles per hour. So what we're going to do is I'll give you a quick storm track on this. We'll go back to programming, but we will get a quick breather, and if we need to cut back in with fresh reports, we will. But let's zoom in first. Take a look at this. It looks as though, again, even though the latest polygon warning is clipping the far southeastern sides of Joplin, areas east of Dunaweg and Duquesne, I really do not expect this to be an issue. In fact, it's pretty safe to say the rotation is passing south and east of Joplin, but still, Joplin, just be cautious that you still have some pretty strong storms out there, 60 to 65 mile per hour winds, and maybe some small hail. But this storm is going to continue to move north and east at about 50 miles per hour. So if we pan that to the north and east, and we want to do so to be sure we give everybody a heads up, given the fact that this has caused at least some damage based on the reports I'm getting. This is going to be affecting areas south and east of Carthage. So Sarcoxy, you'll want to be in a safe place. Reeds, as you go north of I-44 along a 37, be in your safe place. And areas along the north of US 60 in Newton County. So those are the areas that need to be in a safe place. Let's pan or zoom back out just a bit. We'll give you a fresh storm track, and we'll take a bit of a break since we don't appear to have anything confirmed on the ground, which is definitely a good thing. Let's pull up the squall tool. Let's do the leading edge of this in general, because again, if you don't get anything close to a tornado, you're going to have to deal with some strong winds out ahead of this line. Let's have this northeast at 50. That seems about good. And we're going to see this pretty much, if it's not on top of Granby now, it will be at 116. Pierce City, pretty close to it at about 133. Maybe scraping near Milnet by 138. And then as we get closer to the 2 o'clock hour, it's going to be mainly an issue for central and eastern parts of Lawrence County. And if it holds together, outside of our area, it could be near Republic, 11 minutes after 2 o'clock. So since we don't have anything confirmed on the ground right now at this point, we're going to take a break from the coverage, and we're going to keep the cut-ins to as low as possible as long as these storms keep going. But if there's anything back on the ground, we will cut back in as necessary, and we will keep scrolling the Skywatch Storm Alert at the bottom of your screen to keep you updated. For now, let's send it back to programming.